Hello and welcome back to Seaside Garage. I got a new tool for the garage, a new piece of kit, and it's really awesome in my opinion. This is a Sun modular computer system, and it's very high tech. I haven't really figured out when it's from, but when I boot it up, it got a copyright from 1998, so I think it's there about. At least the software is there about. I got this. I swapped this for a case of very strong Christmas beer. The guy I got this from is the Danish go-to guy if you got an old Benz. He's pretty legendary in Denmark for fixing up Mercedes. He's really good at that. He had this from new. I swapped it for a case of strong Christmas beer. It's a bit more expensive than normal beers. But he told me that he paid 250,000 kroners for this back in the day. That is, let me calculate, around 33,500 euros. So the depreciation in this machine has been quite crazy. But what this is, and I'm not even sure because I don't know much about it. It got a lot of manuals with it. I have been reading in them because it's very interesting. But what it is supposed to be able to do is basically a more manual kind of OBD1 connection to your car, where you can get a lot of information. With this machine, I can get a lot of information about the ignition system, the fuel pump, everything in the engine pretty much, even on old cars. This one got a scope in there somewhere that I can use to read impulses from the sensors. That is something I'm looking very much forward to seeing if it works for one thing. But another thing is to learn how to use that. Because as you know, I got a lot of cars from the 80s and the 90s with a lot of computerized systems, but no really good ways to communicate with the ECU. And even if you can, I cannot get a lot of info out of them. So the ability to tap into, let's say, the crankshaft sensor and see if the impulses is consistent and the same size and all that is going to be a game changer for me. Also on ABS sensors and so on. So that will be really nice if it works. Another thing that I read in the manual is that I'm supposed to be able to make something called a balance test with this, where this machine is hooked up to your engine. While the engine runs, it turns off one piston at a time, and then it measures how many revolutions per minute that it drops when that piston is shut off. It will do it on all of the cylinders, and then you will actually be able to see if one of the cylinders is more powerful or less powerful than the other ones. It's not high tech because my phone is more clever than this machine, but it's amazing in my opinion, because it's kind of like old school tech is just more mind-boggling in a way. So if I can make this machine work, and I actually think it works, it's gonna be a game changer for me. Another thing is that it got a exhaust gas analyzer machine in it also. With that, it should be able to measure CO, CO2, oxygen, and different kinds of stuff. That way I will be able to see if the engine runs efficiently. I will be able to fine-tune carbureted engines and so on. That will be awesome also. But I know that is something that needs to be calibrated. So most likely it will be very unprecise, even if it works. But I will have to figure out how to calibrate it if it works. But more on that later. What this is a very big cabinet. I thought it was heavy, but the weight of this thing really took me off guard. I just went there with a big trailer and put it on there, and it was so heavy, and the process of actually putting it on the trailer was so uncontrolled that I was really worried that I damaged the machine going home. But I haven't tried it before I picked it up, so I don't know what worked and what doesn't work. Right here we got a printer, looking very disgusting. Then we got a old school keyboard. Let me get you a little bit closer because there is something really old school in here. Because take a look at this. Remember those? Ha ha! Floppy disks. and different kinds of discs. This is the one to start up the machine with, so we're going to put that in because we're going to start the machine up in a minute. Then we've got different kinds of things. Unfortunately, I do not have anyone with the Citroën written on them. I got Standard, and I got Mercedes and Opel and Ford. I don't think I will ever use them, to be honest. But the Mercedes one, maybe. But the Standard others means everything other than 4-stroke engines. This is a 4-stroke engine, so I can use this for pretty much all the cars that I have. But I do think if I actually had a Citroën one, then I would just be able to select Citroën XM, for instance, and then it knew what it was going to read and all that. So I am going to attempt to see if I can find more discs for this, if it works, because that could be really cool. I already found some on eBay, but yeah, expensive. But let's start it up. And by the way, if you are a regular viewer of my channel, you were most likely expecting a video on this one. But unfortunately, yay, the gasket came. And then it turned out that I ordered the wrong one. Actually, I didn't. It did state on the homepage I bought this from that it was supposed to fit the turbo model. This is not exactly the turbo model, but it should be the same and it should fit. But this is a diesel gasket, and it's not even covering the outlet for the coolant over here. It's completely wrong. It won't fit any petrol CXs in my book, at least. But it will fit my camper, and I already got one. So now I have 2 spare head gaskets for my camper, which I changed the head gasket on last year, so most likely it will never be used. But this means I have now ordered another gasket, a very expensive one. It's extremely difficult, but I'm taking no chances. I'm buying the complete correct one for the GTI, even though it should fit from some of the other models. I'm not taking any chances. So I found the gasket. I'm paying 150 euros or something for it. It's a lot, but the main thing is I just hope it will get here quickly, because I can't get to work on this before I got that. Everything else is ready. I just need the head gasket. Back to the sun. And now I did start this up once when I got home. I haven't really done much to it. I just tested that everything lit up and so on. And if you ever played the Fallout games, you will really like this. I got the most amazing memories from playing Fallout back in the days. But take a look at this. Firstly, we've got a light up here. I don't even know if you can see it. Yeah, there we go. And then this one turns it on. And then over here we have a screen. And hopefully, oh, there we go. Take a look at this. You will notice that, not right now, but some of this system is in Danish. Right now it's in English, so if it's in Danish I will try to translate. But it's now starting up, showing all the 1024K of RAMs. What? Amazing stuff. I don't know why I think an old computer like this is so amazing, because it's useless comparing it to a modern day calculator, to be honest, but it's kind of a mechanical way of being electronic, if that doesn't make sense, but maybe you know what I mean. Please wait. I've used a lot of my childhood just looking at something saying please wait like that, and then look at this. A logo with the letters Sun. System diskette. Down here, indlæser konfigurationsdata is Danish, and then it's just checking, making a self-diagnostic thing, testing stuff. Sommertid is summertime. That's something we do in Denmark. It's now in Danish. And now comes the another old school thing. It is, oh, you can see me also. The tester is heating up at the moment. The tester will be ready in 14 minutes and 43 seconds. And then copyright 1998, as mentioned. So it will take 15 minutes before this tester is ready to do anything. And this reminds me a lot about my first computer. My first computer was a Amstrad with a tape recorder. It didn't have a floppy drive like this one. It had a cassette thing, so you had to put a tape into it and play the entire tape before the game would start. This is just a great way to remember how everything was a bit more slow back in the days. So see you in a bit. I'm going to switch you off until it's up and running. Ooh. And it's ready. Nope. Now it's doing the self-test. It's calibrating. ADC reference, I don't know what it is, but it passed. Oh, passed a lot of things. Now it's testing the gas analyzer. And it passed, except this SWICT is fail. This is the O2 sensor, and I know why that is. I will show that in a bit. Everything else has passed. The ATK, I don't know what it is, but it's not fitted to this model, so therefore it's not working. And then I can press that symbol like that. And there we go. We got program selection, motor test, engine test, test calibration of the tester, special functions, and gas analyzer special function. The point is that you take the motor test and press enter. Then you can choose the model with the model code or without data. That is where the other floppy disks comes into play. And then in the bottom we got multimeter and scope function. But let's go back a bit to the main menu and then go down and select gas analyzer part of it. Modulvisning, I don't know what that is. Oh, it's just the module. So this model is SGM 2004. This is something I know already because I'm trying to find an O2 sensor for this. And I can find O2 sensors for a lot of Sun machines, but not the SGM 2004. I think it's the same, but they are very expensive. So I'm not going to buy one unless I'm sure it will work. But that's what that is. Then if we go back again, then I can check Højdeindtastning, which is height. By this I can type in the level above sea level that we are currently at, because that is also important for the O2 reading, for the gas analyzer. So let's go back again. Then there's special functions. This is where I can change the time and date. For some reason the machine knows it's 2023, but it's wrong on the date, so that's a bit interesting. Let's just change that for fun. Oh, that's just timeout for the screen. So that's not right. Date and time. And up to 9 of December 2023. That's cool. Then we can go back. And then there's the name of the firm. Currently, that's the old one. Let's change that. Seaside Garage. Ah, like that. How do I go back? Did that work? Nope, that didn't work. Oh, anyway. Then we can take and choose motor test once again, and then go into multimeter and scope functions. Then in here we can change. We can take the engine type, petrol, amount of pistons 4, and then the ignition order 1342, whatever your car is, and then the stroke. This is a 4-stroke engine, let's say that, and then the giver is, I think it's the ignition. I think it's the crankshaft sensor. I'm not sure about that though. But let's just take the generic things, and then we are right here. We got multimeter tests, and then it chooses. Now, right now, the system is not hooked up to the car, because all of that stuff over there needs to be hooked up to the car to make this work. But as you can see, we now got It's a bit difficult for you to see because of the refresh rate of the screen. It's completely clear from my eyes. But right here I can see the engine revolution, the battery voltage, the generator ripple, the power, ignition coils, the dwell angle, I think it's the correct translation. Something with the ignition coil. This is a lot of interesting stuff just by that, but let's go back. And then we can take scope functions. And here we got ignition scopes, primary and secondary, and then we got laboratory scope and a generator test or alternator test. But especially this scope function, I think I will have a lot of use for if I can make it work. Because then, for instance, I can choose the injector, for instance, and choose that. And then we got a scope right here. And we even got the CO, the gas analyzer running. Then we should see something if it was hooked up. Let's just go back one time and choose something else. What about the lambda, or the O2 sensor? We can choose that. Once again we get this, and then we got the voltage right here that we would want to see that oscillating quite a lot if it works. If it doesn't work, then we will be able to use this machine to actually identify if it works or not. That's very clever. Let's go back. We also got something like Hall sensor. That's the same. We will just get the polarities, and the scope will be set up for a Hall sensor. Let's go back, because I also think we can just take standard. And then I can actually choose 0, and then I can change the scope settings, the time and the scale, the volt scale, the trigger function, the trigger level, everything. So that is something I need to learn about using, because it's not my thing. I'm not that good at stuff like this, but I want to become good at this kind of stuff. So that's great. There's a lot of possibilities with this. Let's go back and then just take model without data. Then it wants another disk, and this is where I'm just going to choose let's just for fun put in the Mercedes disk, and then again we have to choose everything just like before. We chose the option out without data, so I don't think it's necessary to, so it's not possible to actually select the car. And then it's set up for actually making a test on a actual car. It tells me how to do that. Stop the engine, connect all the leads over there. Let me show you those, because some of them I know what is for, and some of them I don't. But this arm swings out like this, and then you just got a million wires. There is a gun for setting the ignition timing, for instance. That's going to be very nice to have. Then there is a vacuum line. There is an amp line that goes around the battery positive or negative terminal, whether you want to. So you can check the amp that it's drawing. Then there is this one that is supposed to be put on the, I think it's on the wire going from the coil to the distributor, I think. I'm not sure. And this one is for the plug on cylinder number 1. And there is something that goes onto the ref counter outlet on the coil also. All these kinds of things needs to be put on the car. This machine even comes with a couple of extras for that. For instance, down here I found this, which is another really cool gadget that I'm not sure I will ever need, but it's cool. This is supposed to be used if you are working on a car with the wasted spark system. Then you can put this one on and it will work on wasted spark system, like the Alfa Romeos use, for instance. A lot of others actually also, but yeah, that's pretty cool. But this we won't be able to test today, because I need a car that works. Currently, it will not be possible to start this one up because the cylinder head is over there. But if you hook up all these things, it's supposed to be able to make a complete test of the engine, and then the printer will be able to print out the result on everything. That is really, really cool. It's a bit like a fault reader on modern day cars and freeze frames and all that. Really cool. Oh, up here there is the workshop tests that you can choose. You can choose ignition test, starter system test. That's going to be interesting on the CX. Charging system test, ignition, dwell angle test. A lot of different kinds of tests. Cylinder balance test was what I was talking about earlier, where it actually shuts a cylinder off one by one. It got something called fast acceleration test, where it's supposed to be testing ignition advance and so on, I think. Not sure though. But let's go back because I want to show you the gas test. And where is that? Oh, I just want to see if I can actually choose the Benz models on this disc. Oh yeah, we can. Then we can just take 1, 2, 3 or 1, 2, 4. Let's say 1, 2, 3, I got one of those. Select that. And then you got the engine identification. I can't remember that, but I think this one also got some extra wires for the diesel engine because a lot of the Benz are diesel. So that's pretty nice. But if we just choose one of them for fun, let's see what happens. Yeah, it just gives me pretty much the same as before. But now it's just set up specifically for the Benz. Interesting. But what I want to show you is the O2 sensor system, because we need to go back. So I found this menu. This is supposed to be an idle exhaust test. You will see that we got engine revolution, we got CO in percent, Hay-C, which must be hydrocarbons, CO2, O2, and so on. But what I want to show you is that this system seems to work. Right now it is calculating and the pump is neutralizing. But I think, yeah, there we go. Now it's actually measuring something. It's measuring a little bit of HC. Maybe I need to open up a window. But what I want to show you is this. If I take the probe and bring it around and up here, I will try to blow into it because then we should see a CO2 reading, because I breathe out CO2 as far as I know. Let's try. Do I pass the test? And it falls down now that I'm no longer breathing in it. And it falls down. So it works. I just don't think or expect it to be correct reading, because a machine like this needs to be calibrated. As far as I know, you get a gas with a known percentage of the gas that you're calibrating for. And then you can calibrate to that. That seems to be very expensive to get and very hard to find. So I think I will have to try to figure out a way to do it myself. I don't need it to be perfect, but I need it to be in the ballpark. One thing I could do is to go to the local MOT and get them to test one of my cars and then drive straight back and then just calibrate this one to show the same numbers that the MOT machine showed on my car. But I'm not sure it will be very precise, because it's got to be changing with the engine temperature and all that kinds of stuff. So I'm not sure how I'm going to fix that. The O2 is the oxygen sensor. It's showing nothing because it's not there. Let me show you. Because this is the back of the machine. This is the O2. This is the gas analyzer thing. There is filters in here. This one is missing a filter, so I'm not going to test it in a car. But I have found the filters and I ordered them and they are on their way. But up here is supposed to be an O2 sensor and it's not there. And I'm trying to figure out what to do about that. As you can see, I also actually took the machine a little bit apart to just look a bit inside. I'm just gonna switch it off to show you, but it's very dirty because the filters are not existent. So that's that. I think this machine is awesome, and I cannot wait to actually test it on a car. For instance, now that the XM is working right, it's a bit of a shame, but it could have been fun to test that, and I'm gonna do that anyway because it's too much fun, and it's still not running perfect. So it could be fun to see what this machine picks up. This doesn't tell you what's wrong, but it will tell you if you know how to read the different kinds of numbers and voltage and signals and all that. Then I'm sure you can use this machine for a lot of stuff. No matter what, it's a steal for a box of strong Danish beer. That's for sure. I'm gonna shut it down. And then I'm gonna spin it around and show you the backside. As you can see, I got my magnetic tray up here with all the bolts that I have removed this plate just to see what was behind there, and there is nothing. So I guess this is a place to fit extra test stuff. Maybe that ATK thing that it didn't have. I don't know. And then back here is the module for the gas analyzer part of it. And if you pull that out, you will see that this machine has been running for a long time without a filter. So it's wonderful that it works, but I think it could use a bit of a clean. Maybe just pull it all out and blow it with some compressed air. I'm not sure that's a good idea though, because there is a lot of moisture in that kind of air. So I'm not sure how to do what to do about that. But I want to take this side of it off also, because that's the computer in there, and I guess the scope and all that is also covered in that dust because of a missing filter. And then I'm going to put a filter in it. That's my plan at least. So this, I think, is going to be a game changer in my garage because it's perfect for the cars that I work on, and already now I can feel that this machine fits my philosophy perfectly. It's fun to use. Just the memories of booting the system up is worth it for me. Of course, if it doesn't work, then I'm not going to keep it because it's really big. It's going to take up a lot of room in my garage. But in the next video with this one, I'm going to use it to test something, maybe the Abarth or something like that, just to see what it's capable of. And then, yeah, I also got a couple of 100 hours of reading in manuals because there are so much manuals with this one. But anyway, I just wanted to show you my latest thing. I like it. I think I will wrap this day up and go in and play a little bit of Fallout, because this machine is just reminding me so much of that. Maybe even the Matrix also. It's just cool. Anyway, thanks for watching and see you in the next one.